So my friends from America asked, how has my trip been so far? I'm thinking that maybe someone must have been woken up with the ringing, right? Someone must have been woken up. If we bitch about it to our American friends, then maybe someone will hear our plight and think it's fine, where if we just say good, then that's a bad thing. This was my chance to lay everything out with someone who wouldn't doubt me. I explained to them the events of the past few hours, the humiliation, the sudden romantic problems, the end of the trip, and how I'd been framed for it all. I finished, my voice wobbling near the end, and hung my head. Well, that's stupid. Huh? What are you talking about? It's not stupid, it's horrible. How am I supposed to deal with this? How do I get through this? By pushing through, obviously. Good old American determination. Even if that's impossible in this scenario. What, do you think life was meant to go 100% smoothly? Do you think your friends owe you their instant understanding and forgiveness? Yeah, sure. That is not a good life lesson. Look, occasionally you'll get screwed, and occasionally someone will, like, frame you for theft. And all of your friends will hate you, and that's something you have to deal with and push through. Or call the police. Humans are stupid, stupid creatures. We don't like having the wool pulled over our eyes, and we especially, whoops, don't like it when someone destroys our trust. So of course everybody is mad at you. You'd be mad at them too. But that's besides the point. How am I expected to do anything now? Well, they said they would let you stay in the hostel if you paid, right? Yep. How? My visa only allows me to take part-time student jobs in England. Even if I can find someone willing to hire me, there's no guarantee I can cover the rent. So call your parents and get help. But would you rather ask them to get you a new plane ticket home because you've got nowhere to live? That'll cost money too, and you'd have to abandon your exams. There were only a few weeks left of the semester. He was right. It would be ridiculous to give up now. I had to tough it out, at least that long. Everyone hates me. Talk to your friends, prove yourself worthy of their friendship, make them realise there's no way you would ever take their money, make it seem so completely out of character they have no choice but to trust you. Make it seem out of character. Okay, got it, I'll lie. Also, try to find out who really took the money, that might help. But you're not a detective, and if you can't solve the mystery, don't worry, that's not what really matters. Arie did it. If it's your responsibility to look after yourself and love yourself first. Love yourself first. Put down your self-help book. It's not helping. You sound like someone who's been reading self-help books. I don't want to identify with this Logu picker. She seems far too, like, naive, but sure, why not? Well, they have really good advice, so shut up. Heh. Jinsu and Nene always knew how to cheer me up. I was happy to see that that didn't change, even when we were so far apart. These two were true friends, and they would always be there for me. Yeah, you're right, we've been away for an academic year, and I think I've spoken to them twice. Yeah, why not try? I could either lay down and let this all happen to me, or I could take a stand and try to control where it was going. Try to change things up. This was my responsibility now, it was my life. I could blame people and circumstances all I wanted, but in the end I could only control myself. This is my life. It's now or never. This is my semester abroad. I don't know the rest of the lyrics, I chose not to carry on. I'll make sure it's the best it can be. Atta girl. Oh, we're still talking to her. Now get some sleep, we'll talk to you again soon. We hung up and I crawled back into bed, snuggling into the blankets. It was up to me to solve my money problems and reconcile with everybody. That was what I could do to change the situation. Yeah, I don't know how to tell you this, but life isn't a self-help book. Some people are just not gonna believe you no matter how much you love yourself. Better go get some sleep. Tomorrow will be a big day. Did it technically count as today yet? Whatever. Remember, you don't always have to be massively happy to be happy with yourself. You can be cynical and smile all the time. As soon as that's not a good message. Don't do that. As soon as it was late enough in the day to be reasonable back home, I had to call my parents. I hated to do it. I hated to think how disappointed they would be. But Jinsu was right. Pretending that there wasn't any problem wasn't a problem, wasn't a mature thing to do. Mature. Fuck off. I had enough money to cover the rent for the next few weeks, but not until the end of time when I was supposed to stay in England. I couldn't risk being thrown out into the street. Maybe I could find another job somewhere, but I couldn't count on that. I needed fallback plans. With a heavy heart, I began to dial. I would lie. That evening, with the immediate disaster dealt with, as best as I could manage for now, I had time to think. I knew I hadn't stolen the money, which logically meant that someone else had. Unless there was no money missing in the first place, and James was just making it up for some reason. But why would he do that? As long as I was employed here, he could skim off me. If I left, he'd lose out. It was possible he was just wrong, and there wasn't any money missing to begin with. James didn't look like a great bookkeeper. Still, if that were the case, how would I ever prove it? You wouldn't, and there's definitely money in there. I knew the owner of the Crafty Crown was a friend and business partner of James. He might have borrowed money from the till for some reason. No, it's not him. You know how I know it's not him? He doesn't have a sprite. If it were only borrowed, then he should clear up the misunderstanding when he brought it back, right? Unless he was actually stealing from James. During the time when the register drawer was broken and not closing right, anyone could have gotten into the register without needing a key. The drawer was fixed before we went on to the trip, though, so if anyone got into the hostel while it was closed, they would have had a harder time, and surely James would have noticed that on the cameras, you'd think. All he has to do is look like probably a few hours beforehand and see the person who went and jammed it in. The plastic thing, this is. If the drop-in guests from last week had stolen the money, we'd have a hard time finding them again. Could it be someone else in the hostel? I still didn't know why Mark had so much money, but had been so willing to give it away, probably because he's rich. He promised the money was clean, which actually sounded sort of suspicious. But if he was stealing from the hospital, why would he give me... Hospital! I'm doing it again! Hostel, why would he give me money? It just didn't make sense. None of this would be happening if James had sent me to fix the register drawer. And then it hit me. James didn't send me. Arie told me that James wanted me to do it. Could it be that I was set up? Arie was the only one who didn't seem too bothered that I supposedly lied to everybody. Maybe it wasn't a surprise to her at all. I finally managed to track her down while she was making a salad in the kitchen. When she saw me enter, she smirked. Why would you go straight after her? If you know it was probably her, then why wouldn't you just go to the camera? Ask for the camera footage. Look at the last time Arie went anywhere near it. It's a laptop. You can skim past it looking for something you're interested in. You can fast forward if you really want to do it. Oh, it's our poor little two-faced wench. How have things been going? I know you're the one who did it, Arie. What, me? She stuck a fork in her salad and took a bite. Why on earth would I do anything like that? I don't know, that's why I came to ask you. I know you hate me for some reason, but why? Arie twirled her fork in her plate. Did you ever bother to ask yourself what would have driven me to get into bed with that man at work that first day during my shift? No, I guess not. The shock must have dulled your brain. You don't know anything about me. You don't know why I do what I do, but you judge me anyway. I hate women like you. I didn't judge you! You told me to come look for you. You were nowhere to be seen. The manager let me into the room. You could have an ill mother for all it matters. The fact is that is your fault, regardless of how you are choosing to take the moral high ground here. You're just butterflies in sunshine, aren't you? You'll drag people in with your innocent, oh, I'm so kind, I'm so quirky, I'd never do anything to hurt anybody. We both know that's not true. You've got skeletons in your closet, just like the rest of us. You only think you're the good one. Attack her! Oh, that is an awful choice. That is not a choice I'm taking. And I'm not saving here to do it. I'm genuinely not. Everyone did things they weren't proud of sometimes, but I would never ever become someone like Arie, right? Maybe I made trouble for her that first day, but it was an accident. She'd had it in for me ever since. She'd never tried to iron things out, but I ever apologized to her either. So what did happen that day with the man in the hostel? She bristled. None of your business, tart. She sidestepped me and left the room. I watched her go. Was there more to her than met the eye, or was I being suckered? I didn't know anymore. If Arie was responsible for the theft, what could I possibly do about it? I was no detective. I couldn't break into a room to search for clues. What clues would there be anyway? It's gone. This happened days ago. There was only one possibility, and it was a pretty long shot. For now, I needed to get my act together and focus on my finances. Just watch the fucking tape. There was one benefit to having everyone in the hostel trying to avoid me. It was easy to get space to myself in the living room. Hey. Alright, not quite everyone. Hey, how are you holding up? I explained the steps I'd taken with my parents and how I suspected that Arie was behind the whole thing but couldn't prove it. Danny frowned. Do you want me to search her room? What? It wouldn't be difficult to get inside. You mean like offering to do maintenance? He just looked at me. Clearly he meant that he could break in. Come on, look at how he's looking at you! Look at how he is looking at you. Does that look like a man who's offering to do maintenance? He's up for more than cleaning a few pipes, alright? So breaking them apart. No, I don't think that would help. She probably spent the money already, and even if there was a stack of bills sitting in her room, we couldn't prove they came from the hostel register. I could threaten her. No! Please, please don't. I couldn't stand Arie, but I didn't want to actually be hurt. I didn't want to ruin Danny's reputation in the hospital by making him break his control. I've already lost my job anyway. It's too late to go back to the way things were. Sometimes there's no way to fix everything right. We just have to deal with what we have. Danny nodded slowly. If that's the way you want to play it, but if she gives you any trouble, if she gets in your way, if she asks you to do anything, you come get me, understand? Don't let her near you. I smiled. It's good to know I have you to protect me. Never, ever call on him, ever. My God. Always. Whoa, hang on, where'd that always come from? This was a short-term relationship. I tracked down James in the hostel lobby. What? Here. This is the money I owe you for this week's rent. And this is the money you're supposedly missing from the till, which I did not steal. Sure you didn't. No, you listen to me. I'm a paying customer now. You can't push me around. I may have spent most of my life too quiet to stand up for myself, but this time I had had enough. I never stole from you. I would never steal from you or anyone else. Look, I don't know how to tell you this. I don't think he cares as long as the money's coming to him. I've already given you the money you wanted, so I've got no reason to pretend that I'm innocent. I am innocent. I was fixing the register drawer because Arie told me you said it was broken and I had to fix it. And if you didn't know the drawer was broken, how come Arie did? If you've got that CCTV footage, look further back. Look what happened before I fixed the register. I don't take orders from you. Do you want the real thief to be under your roof and get away with it? I don't know exactly what happened. I have no way to find out, but maybe you do. That's all I could do. I didn't know if it would do any good, but I had to try. I don't know, but we're definitely going to find out this episode. Saturday was the last day of formal university classes for the spring semester. Today the reading period had begun and the library was filled with students revising for their exams. See, the problem is we have, as their friend said, we're going to force them to show that we're good and that our friendship wouldn't do that. And we should get it back. And we have currently talked to Danny and Arie and Danny and Arie and yep, that's it. Like today the reading period began and the library filled with students revising for their exams. I had a little bit of catching up still to do. Our beach trip meant I had missed the class, and then the fallout from the theft had been a huge distraction. Still, I wasn't going to let a little thing like that stop me. Maybe these courses weren't very serious or important for my degree back home, but there was no way I was going to fail. Many of the other hostel residents were now obsessed with the need to study, Danny and Peggy in particular. Mark spent a lot of time in the library anyway, so there wasn't much difference to be seen. Only Geo seemed completely unbothered by the impending examination, something art degree. All laugh about how it's not real. I suppose that being an artist made him too mellow to show stress. Yeah, that's what artists are known for. How mellow and chilled out they are. Or else there wasn't really a way to cram for an art exam. The exam period would begin next Monday and last a little over 2 weeks. The tests had to be spread out to be sure that no student, whatever their schedule, had 2 exams on the same day. I only had 2 classes, so I would be done with everything by the beginning of June. Then I'd have the rest of the months to hang out and finish exploring England, and then it would be all over. That's a lot of days we're flying past, and we still haven't spoken to anyone. Oh god, are we playing football? 3, 2, 1, go. The flag was waved, Danny and I revved our engines and shot off down the track. In no time we left the other competitors behind and we were neck and neck with each other. Is this a foot race? You really think you could beat me, Ogupigu? Danny's voice floated down towards me over the roaring wind. I grinned. I know I can beat you. You fucking can't. Oh, the kart track. Sorry, I was confused by the fact that we're near a river and grass. The kart track wove around a hill and through a group of trees, lapping 3 times like a video game. Danny swerved in front of me, shifting left to right to prevent me getting a go around him. We rounded a turn at Danny's high speed, caused him to ram into the tyres, and the opposite end I had several other people past him, whooping with joy. I looked back and saw him gritting his teeth, that familiar fire in his eyes. You say familiar, and you're blushing at this familiarity. I'd be terrified. It took about a minute or two for him to weave back around the other waces. Sorry guys, I'm Elmer Fudd apparently. I think I saw our bunny wabbit. The other racers come neck and neck with me. Don't think you can get around me. Danny said nothing, just revved his engines further. We were rounding a turn, so I slowed down to make it. Danny instead sped up and slammed his brakes and swerved. He drifted through the turn, losing half as much speed as I did, and pulled ahead of me. What? No fair! I tried to catch up to him on the last lap, but it was hopeless. I was as far behind him as the other racers were behind me. By the time he won, he had nearly lapped them. As we crept out of the karts, I pouted. Danny approached me with an easygoing smile. Easy going? Easy going? I don't know about that. Would you look at that? No fair. I thought you said you wouldn't go all dark-eyed on me. Yeah, well, I couldn't help it. I wasn't about to lose our bet. But I really wanted to try that new sushi place. We're still going there. Really? Of course, whatever makes you happy. But you can bet I'll collect later on tonight. He smiled at me and I flushed. Were we going somewhere else? Danny followed me into my room and firmly closed the door behind him, loosening the collar on his shirt. Now look here. I held up my hands, creeping back towards the bed. Oh, I'm looking. Hang on a second. Hang on. Where's this fucking towel come from? We've gone from shirt and... I don't know what they are. I'm presuming they're trousers, right? To... a towel. Where's the towel come from? He was already undressing and slowly coming towards me. I grinned but tried not to show it too much. I love these little cat and mouse games. I said tonight we were going to play a board game, and I won the bet, so we get to play the game I pick, right? Well, yes. And this is the game I pick. He lifted me in his arms and gently tossed me onto the bed. I squeaked as I fell. Not fair. Definitely fair. You agreed after all. He began removing my clothes and kissing my neck. Oh, lovely. Well, yes, but my mind started to fog and Danny smiled at me. Methinks the lady doth protest too much. I flushed and helped him get the rest of my clothes off. Great. That night was definitely a fun way to relax before final exams. How is this so... We're just flying through exam period. Hi. Late that night, Danny came into my room. How'd your test go? He smiled like a shark. Like a shark? He's smiling like a blind person. That's unfair. He's smiling like someone who's on a severe high. Look how small his pupils are. I try to make a joke about how I'm a mushroom, and I'm not the only mushroom about to be consumed in this room, but I can't make it work, so I'll leave you on that.